Well, I've lost track of the stages, but this is the next stage of getting my tourist visa extension. I'm just cycling away from the village and heading into Bukittinggi, and I'm going to stay in a hotel in Bukittinggi tonight. A very basic sort of place, but really friendly people there. And the people at the hotel agreed to be my sponsor for my application for the visa extension. All of that paperwork, I got it filled out yesterday. So I wanted to get all that done in advance. Another beautiful day. The sun is out a little bit, but there's a lot of heavy wind, a lot of rain clouds. There was some heavy rain last night again. So we're still not out of the rainy season. Still can't beat the scenery here. Coming down out of the village, so beautiful. I'm not looking forward to the chaos of the city. Well, that was a funny moment. I pulled up onto this main road and I knew it was going to take a while to find an opening to get across it. So I was shutting down my cameras, stopping the recording so that I could adjust the angle and check them over, things like that. And the second that I hit the stop record button on the GoPro, a little girl ran across the street and she was hit by a scooter, kind of sent flying. And for a fraction of a second, I thought, oh, did I get that on video? And I looked down at my camera and I thought I saw the record light still running. So I thought, oh, I did get that. It's sort of that classic scene where someone gets an accident on a dash cam on a YouTube video, and then they rush up to offer their video in case they want to go to court or something, you know, evidence as to what happened. So I was thinking, well, I had video of this accident. But then when I looked down a couple minutes later, I noticed it wasn't recording. So in fact, I'd stopped recording just before the accident occurred, but the little girl seemed to be fine. So I've just about arrived at the Mandiri guest house, should be just up ahead. It'll be quite interesting. Though I'm not expecting very much from the room. I booked a very inexpensive hotel, and I booked the cheapest room in that inexpensive hotel. A single room. It's going to be very small, very plain, but I'm sure it will suit me just fine. And here we are, Oyo 2199. Hello. How are you? I'm good. Good. Whew. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, you're fine? Oh.
When I go?
Hmm?
When? Sorry, mana?
Where?
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Today? I will sleep here tonight. Tomorrow morning, I will go to immigration. That's the
It's okay.
Yep.
You any coffee?
Coffee? No, not now. No,
No coffee.
no, it's okay.
Tea?
I think I will unpack and then I will get lunch somewhere.
It's okay.
Yeah. So,
That's good.
moving right along. I already booked this room and paid for it yesterday. Everything is all settled already, so very simple matter of just showing up and getting the key to my room, and I'm in room 204 up on the second floor. And the room, to be honest, is nicer than I was expecting. I mean, it is a small room, as you can see, single bed, but it does have its own bathroom. And I say that it's better than I expected because a small room can be very awkward for someone like me that has a lot of gear, you know, like a laptop, things I want to plug in. But the way this room is set up, it's actually fairly, fairly handy. I mean, it has this thing, you know, right beside the bed, 2 shelves, and then a thing on top. Outlet right beside the bed. I haven't checked this light yet. Look at that. The light even works. It said small bed, but I don't need a lot of room. And then on this side, it has like a TV up here, which, yeah, I wonder, does anyone use TVs in hotels anymore? I have no idea. I don't know if I've ever used a TV in a hotel, because now, of course, you have laptops, smartphones, tablets. You know, do hotel rooms need these anymore? Maybe they still do. But then you've got a little ledge over here. You know, it's a small detail, very, very small, but it can be very handy. You know, as you can see, I piled a bunch of gear there already. You know, if you don't have these little shelves, where does all your gear go? You know, you just end up dumping it on the floor or something. So yeah, nice little room. Another important thing, of course, is the Wi-Fi, and I just ran a speed test. I've got 27.4 megabytes per second download, which is good, and then 6.5 megabytes per second upload. And the Wi-Fi works here, and I'm connected right now, so I'm very happy about that. That's going to be my main goal while I'm staying in this hotel, is just to do a bunch of uploading. Yeah. Next step is to explore a little bit. I saw something on the outside about a rooftop. Yeah, there it is. Rooms 301 to 303 and a rooftop garden and a mashallah. So let's see if there's anything of interest up here. Okay. These are the rooms up here. Larger rooms, you know, big double bed, or yeah, looks like a king or a queen. And a rooftop. Look at that. Wasn't expecting anything like this. There's the name, the sign from the back, Mandiri Guest House. And going through the letter D, there's Marapi. And that's where my true home is. I go over in this direction. Yeah, there's my village right up there on the slopes of the volcano. So that's where I'm staying, just up there. I think that's Sungai Puar is what I'm looking at. and maybe Sarik is more off in this direction, up there. And over here is Mount Singalang, covered in clouds as it is most of the time. And then looking off in this direction, that would be downtown Bukittinggi over there. So, yeah, nice. Of course, one of the first things I noticed was a handy little restaurant right over here. Mie ayam bakso, nasi goreng, very basic food. So right across the road, that's where I'm going next for lunch. Well, I am back at the immigration office in Bukittinggi, as you can see. That's the immigration office building over there, and the parking lot over there. Yeah, so I came back for the next stage of this ongoing drama. The way things worked out, if you've been following this story, is that I've moved into a hotel here in Bukittinggi, and I had to do that because they told me that I had to get a sponsor for my visa extension. I got a visa on arrival, of course, when I landed at the Pekanbaru airport. It's a 30-day visa on arrival, and that visa you can extend it one time for another 30 days. And it says, like, when you get the stamp in your passport at the airport, they put a little sticker on it that actually says at the bottom, you know, extendable. So you know that this visa is extendable. But when I came in here, they told me that I needed a sponsor, and I asked them who this sponsor could be, and they says, well, you can just get someone from your hotel to be your sponsor. I tried to get someone from the village, you know, where the people that I know that live there, but that didn't work out. So the easiest thing to do was to move into a hotel for a few days, get someone from the hotel to be my sponsor. I found a hotel and a friendly owner and friendly front desk clerk who was willing to fill out the forms for me and give me a photocopy of their ID. I explained all of that. So I came here this morning, hopped on my bike, and got here pretty early. They're listed as opening at 7:30 in the morning, but nobody was at the counters until 8:30, 8:45, something like that. So I was waiting around here for a little while, and then finally someone did show up, and we started the process, got everything done. They accepted my application this time. Oh, I'll tell some of the details because they're so weird. Of course, now that I was back, I had to fill out the official application form. And I'm a bit of a customer service kind of guy. I'm interested in customer service, and I often think, how would I behave in a certain situation? Because I came in here last week to apply, and they sent me away and said, okay, you have to get a sponsor, which of course no one else has to do. You're not supposed to get a sponsor for a visa on arrival extension. That's not part of the rules. I've never heard of anyone having to do it, but they told me I had to get a sponsor. So they gave me the form that I have to bring to someone else, and they have to fill out the sponsorship form with, you know, their ID number, name and address and phone number, all the details. But now that I've come back, now they give me all the other forms I have to fill out. And of course, I'm thinking, as a customer service kind of guy, well, I was already here before when you gave me the sponsorship form. Why not at that point give me the other forms I have to fill out? You know, like, get everything laid out. You know, it's okay, so you're going to need the sponsorship, but you're also going to need to fill out this form, and you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do that. Like, give me everything all at once. But they didn't do that. So now that I came back this time, now it's like, oh, here, you fill out these forms. I'm like, well, why didn't you give me those last time? I could have filled them out in the comfort of my hotel room. And they gave me a blank piece of paper, like just completely blank. Nothing written on it, no lines, nothing. It's just a piece of paper, like right out of the photocopier, completely blank. And they said, you have to write a personal letter to the immigration office asking for a tourist visa extension, you know, and explaining why. And that's pretty much all they told me in very limited English. You know, it's like, oh, you have to write a letter asking for the visa extension. And I'm like, okay. like, who am I addressing? I don't know who to address the letter to. I don't know what to say in the letter. But anyway, I just made up a very flowery thing, you know. So I basically repeated all the information that's already on the application form. You know, my name is Doug Nienhuis. I'm from Canada, and I arrived with a tourist visa. Here's my visa number. This is my passport number, and this is the expiry date. And I'm here as a tourist, and I'd like to visit more places around Sumatra, around Indonesia, and I would like to humbly request a 30-day extension on my tourist visa on arrival. And I'm just making up a bunch of gibberish, filling the page, because really all you could say is, you know, you just put in, "Dear Sir or Madam, I would like a visa extension," and sign it. I mean, what else are you supposed to say? I mean, you're already filling out an entire application form and sponsorship papers and photocopies of everything. It's like, but anyway, I wrote a small novel just to make it look good and signed it down at the bottom and dated it and did all these things. And that was my my application letter, which I wrote out here. And then handed all that in, and then I had to wait for a little while. Then he called me back up to his little cubicle and handed me a bank form, which that's one good thing about this immigration office, because it's way out in the middle of nowhere. And normally you have to go to a bank with the form, and then you pay the 500,000 rupiah at a bank using that form, and then you get a receipt, and then you have to come back to the immigration office and hand that in. But here, because it's so far away, they actually have a small window behind. Actually, it's in the same building as the immigration office. It's in the back, and it actually has the name of a bank on it, and they basically set up that bank window. It's an official branch of that bank, I guess, but it's just one small window, and you can pay the fee right there. They print out the receipt, and then you bring it back into the desk, and you go from there. And then, of course, they have this system in Indonesia where they do this weird, I don't know if you call it weird, but when they have to take your photograph and take your fingerprints, but they have to do this in a live network. I ran into this problem on previous trips to Sumatra, where they don't take your picture and store the picture. They take the picture, and then the picture is automatically inserted into the network. So their computers have to be up and running and have to be connected to the immigration internet, basically. And if that is down, the system won't operate. And apparently that was the case last time when I was doing this in Sumatra before, and you show up and say, well, we can't do the biometrics because the system is down, and you got to come back on another day and another day until finally the internet is running. And here their system was down as well, and the guy was having a heck of a time getting his computer up and running. But anyway, I was waiting quite a while, and finally he went to a whole bunch of different computers, did a bunch of things, came back to his computer. He had to reboot a couple of times. Finally got it up and running, and then I guess it was connected. Then he took my picture, and then you have to give all 10 fingerprints, all 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. And then he unplugs the camera, and then he has to plug the cord from the camera into this black tablet that's sitting on the desk in front of me. And he hands me this thick black pen, and apparently I'm supposed to, well, I know this, I have to sign and you're connected to the internet again, and you're supposed to sign directly into this online record while it has this live internet connection. But you can't see what you're signing. It's just this big black square, and you don't know how big or how small to make the letters, and I can barely sign my name on paper. And here I am having to do it completely blind, and you can't rest your hand on the pad. You have to hover your hand in mid-air and hold the pen, and then try to write your signature and keep it in the proper area on the screen. But you can't see the screen. You can't see anything. You're doing this completely blind. And I did it over and over again, and it wasn't working. And I guess I was holding the pen at too sharp an angle. It's looking at hold the pen straight up and down So now I'm holding the pen straight up and down, and I'm trying to recreate my signature, and it was just absolutely hopeless. But eventually the computer beeped, and I guess it accepted it, and things were winding down. And I guess getting to this point, you could say that overall it was positive, because worst case scenario, they were going to reject my sponsor for some reason, reject something in my form, something that they didn't like. And there were problems with the form. I don't understand why the world is filled with forms that don't make any sense. It's like, is there nobody in charge of these forms? I don't understand it. The form here is actually a relatively good one in terms of it has English on it and Indonesian, and enough room to actually fill in the lines. It says, write your full name and your full address, etc., etc. There's actually enough room to write out what they want you to write out, and that's kind of an improvement on most forms in the world. They can barely even manage that. But then I'm filling it out, and I filled out this form in the past, and you get to a point that asks for your occupation abroad, and then it asks for the address and phone number of your office. And I never know what to do with that, because I'm a tourist. This is all related to a tourist visa. I'm not working here, so office abroad doesn't apply. So I don't even know why it's on the form. And then it asks, for the address of your office and the phone number of your office. But that's the only time that phone number comes up. So I didn't fill that out because I'm not working here. I do not have an office abroad. So I don't have an occupation abroad. So I brought everything back to the guy, handed it back to him, sat down in his tiny cubicle again. We're both in there like prisoners. It's a very tiny space. And then he's looking over the form, looking at all the details, and he said, "Oh, we need your phone number." And I was like, oh, and I hate making mistakes. So I'm like, how did I miss the phone number? It's like, that's like one of the main things you need to supply. So I felt bad that I missed it. And so I'm taking the form, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, there is no slot for the phone number. The form does not ask for your phone number. So I'm like, I don't know where to put it. And it's like, oh, where do I write the phone number? And then he took the form back, and he's looking the form up and down. He's like, oh, yeah. There is no phone number here. He has to put it in his computer, so he needs the phone number, but there's nothing on the form. And then he goes all the way down to where it says occupation abroad, office address, and phone number. He says, oh, put your phone number here, because there is a slot for your workplace phone number. Just put it in there. So I'm like, okay, that makes no sense at all, but that's what I did. So I wrote my phone number in there, gave it back to him, and he was happy with that. So we got to that point, and then he said, okay, now I have to input this into the computer, so you please, go take a seat. So I'm back in I sat down in the waiting area, 5 times. It's like, get up, do this, now sit down again, wait, oh, come back up, sir, do this, sit down again, oh, come back up. So anyway, I go back, I sit down, and now he has to take all that information that's on paper and enter it into this computer system, a very fickle computer system. And eventually I was called back up, and we did the photograph, and we did the fingerprints, and we all did that. And then we got to the thing that has depressed me so much, where he says, okay, everything is all right, and you have to come back in 7 days. 7 days. Today is Monday, and he says, okay, to pick up your passport and get your visa stamp, you have to come back next Monday, 7 days from now. Because, and as he explained it to me, you have to come back in 3 working days, but this week there happened to be 2 holidays. And then he says, I have to come back on the 3rd working day, which is Monday. 7 days. So I have to come back, I have to wait another 7 days and come back here in 7 days to pick it up. So for me, it's going to be a total of 14 days from the day I started this process until I finally get it. 14 days of this to get a 30-day visa extension. I was thinking, come on, because 3 work days, like 3 business days, nothing is happening on those days. It's not like they need 3, they don't need 8-hour days to complete this process. The whole thing is done. He could stamp it right now and send me out the door. What do they do for these 3 days? And I'm thinking, okay, well, if you need 3 business days, can't we count today as one day? I mean, I came here at the crack of dawn, so it's Monday today. Today technically is a business day. So can't we say that Monday is a business day? But no, he says no. So he just said, come back in 7 days, come back next Monday. Next Monday. And I got out my phone, I looked at the calendar because I was so shocked. I did not want to misunderstand. And I looked and showed him, I said, okay, so you mean like today is Monday. I have to come back next week, Monday, to get get my passport back and get the visa extension stamp? And he confirmed, yes, you do. 7 days. So, yeah, that's just the way it is. So, back on my bike, ride back to my little hotel, and have a cup of coffee and see if I can calm down. Just for fun, thought I'd fire up the GoPro as I ride out of immigration. You can see the building from a bicycle's point of view. So there's the immigration building. Place I now seem to know quite well. Feels like my second home. And I'll be back in 7 days. But yeah, there's the front of it. Quite a large structure. On the positive side, just like it was positive on my other visit here, the weather was quite nice this morning. I rode from my hotel down here, and I was able to come most of the way through the countryside. I didn't have to go along the main highways at all, so I got a bit of a break from all the crazy traffic. So it was a very beautiful ride. And the clouds have moved in a little bit. All the volcanoes are covered up with cloud again, but should still be a relatively nice ride back. It's about 12, 13 kilometers outside of town, this office. So it's like a 12-kilometer bike ride from here back to my hotel. Yeah. Yeah, it's all you can do in these situations really is just laugh. I've been in this situation so many times in my life. It's routine now, but it still takes me by surprise every time. Look at this view, by the way. As I talk about terrible things, let's temper that with something pretty wonderful. Look at that. Amazing. Palm trees, fields, rice, mountains in the background. Yeah, stunning view. That is very nice. And that's the main road down there. I can actually see the trucks thundering along. And luckily I can avoid that main road completely, stay out here in the countryside.